People that are watching me right now, you know who you are. Now we'll wait a second, see if we get chum anyone in, see if anyone comes. Oh man, what a week. Crazy. Just crazy, crazy, crazy. Absolute insanity. Um, Not just the political stories and the streaming type content, but then just work related stuff. Ugh. But I'm about to have fun. I'm about to, when I get off work today, hang out with my family and birthday party this weekend. See a lot of family and friends. I think it'll be cool. Hopefully, there won't be a lot of politics talk. It'll be nice to escape this. Um, but, excuse me, we're 45 seconds in. Don't have anyone watching yet. Now, as a big time streamer myself, wink, wink, I'm not. How long have I been doing this? Live streaming 5 years, 6 years? uh, I'm very humble, very small streamer, but I'm lucky and I'm glad I have an audience. But there's many a day that I would do a live stream and be live for like an hour and a half with no one watching. It's a weird feeling because you're like, it's like, what if that inner monologue in your head had a physical voice? That's what it's like to stream to yourself. It's weird. You have some weird conversations with yourself. At least I do. So, but now I see some people coming in now. Thank you, thank you. Just me and Caravaggio. Nice. There's 5 people now. Three. What's up with that? 5 people watching, only 3 thumbs up. I always thought that was a little arrogant. Hey, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Why? Maybe half the people watching don't think I'm doing a good job, so no thumbs up from them. It's fair. You know, gotta be reasonable. There we go. Now we're at 4. But I think about that all the time. Here's something I thought about. When I ran for Congress, there's a virtual call-in. Now, this was a special election, so the congressman that had won the seat was dropping out for health reasons. Oh, I'm botting. Yeah, there we go. 3 votes to get up my numbers. You had to call in, right? And so it went alphabetically. So I think there were 24 people on the call that were running for this seat. And because my last name starts with N, I was like 18th or 19th. And so you got to hear everyone else, but you couldn't talk until it was your turn. And that, yeah, I was excited because they were going to ask you questions. So I was like, oh, they're going to ask me, like, what's my economic policy? And it was like, why have you decided to run for office? You have 1 minute. Yeah. And then the second question was, why would you be the best candidate? You have 1 minute. And I remember I'm sitting waiting my turn with my phone to get my chance to speak on this virtual campaign business with all these people listening. And I looked at my wife and I was like, well, I'm 17. And so that means there's 6 or 7 people that go after me, right? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, well, how can I say I'm the best person? And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, what if the person right after me is better? It's not like I could come back on and be like, never mind, scratch that. Number 19 was the best. I always think about weird things like that. Where, like, oh, look, the bots are in there. I think about this a lot. Like, how come you never see an ad that says, like, we're the third best pizza in town? It's always the best pizza. Best burgers in town. Not everyone could be the best, right? But no one's really advertising like, we're the third best burgers in town. Give us a chance. That other place may be busy. You know? It's weird. People don't do that. Anyways, Rob Knorr, best streamer online. Hope you guys are enjoying yourself. Oh, so maybe a depressing stream. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Stream of consciousness here. I don't know how long I'll go. Probably have to be done by 1:30. All right. Probably before then, though. I might talk to someone like Destiny. I guess we'll talk a little about sort of the stream's going to be tangentially related to that. So, I haven't had fun streaming this week, if I'm honest with you. I don't I don't particularly want to watch people become fucking unhinged. I don't. I don't like it. Even people that arguably would like if I was unhinged. Even people that would pour salt in my wounds and have, right? I know in 2016 when Trump won, Trump supporters had every right to say, fuck you, yes, this feels so good. Screw all you people on the left. I get it, and part of me was right there. But I also try to remember, as shitty as I feel, every election in my life except 2016, the people I supported lost. Every one. Every one. So I know what that feels like. So I try to be a little empathetic and say, okay, um, you know, um, but whatever. I don't think you're a shitty person if you did it. You earned it. But that's just sort of how I approach things. I feel arrogant. I feel like I'm better than other people. Not the people on the right, but the people on the left. I feel better than them. I'll be honest. It's a difficult thing to say, but it's true. I feel I could crush them with my argument every day. When we debate, I'll crush them. But if things ever turn my way, I don't have to kick them when they're down. And I know that the vast majority of them would not return the favor to me. I know that. Now, we're not even getting into serious shit yet. What do I mean by kick them when they're down? Ha ha, loser, you're getting what you deserve. That sort of shit. I don't do much of that. I sometimes do, but not much. So, that's just a taste of where to start. I'm incredibly biased, but I'm also incredibly confident that I'm right. That most of the direction, the rhetoric being raised and shit that we've got to here started with our institutions who realized that they could pay lip service to the causes of the left. They realized that if they pretended to give a shit about the causes of the most radical people on the left, progressivism, etc., that they were able to sort of have institutional power and behave in egregious ways. That because they could hit this dopamine rush of talking to people on the left, that those of us on the right are evil, fucking insurrectionists, racist, 10-tooth rubes, xenophobic, blah, 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 insert your ism. They knew that if they could send red meat to that they could continue to screw over this country, to not care about people, and get away with it because the left was so into that dopamine rush. Not all of them, not all of them, but that's where we were. That's where the Overton window had shifted. And so you could beat the shit out of conservatives on college campuses that went to Berkeley to hear a conservative speak. You could try to prevent conservatives from speaking online. You could get them fired for little things over and over and over. The examples too countless to name. Over and over and over and over and over and over. Yes, I understand the same people that gaslit you about Biden's cognitive decline are going to try to tell you, actually it was the right that started it. The left didn't do cancel culture. They're full of it. That's the truth. It's not to say there weren't people on the right that did it. It's not to say there aren't hypocrites on the right. There are. I call them out. But overwhelmingly, this was coming from the left, and the left had institutional power, or at least the institutions were claiming to support the causes of the left. Show me the left-wing speakers that people were beating the shit out of to prevent to speak on college campuses. Now, we know this is true. My take on cancel culture and things of that nature was, we don't stoop to their level. I thought that cooler heads could prevail. I thought that you could explain to people rationally why this sort of scorched earth, oh, we don't like that you support this candidate, we don't like that you said this thing, therefore we should ruin your entire life. I thought the cooler heads would prevail. Now let me be clear here. There are limits that even I have that I like. Take the most heinous thing you could imagine. Someone posting, I'm coming to physically assault your children. Of course, things like that should be removed. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking insensitive jokes, or not even jokes. I thought cooler heads would prevail. I could not say this, and I hope that people understand me. Like, I could not have been more wrong. I was spectacularly wrong. I misread the situation completely. That's 2014 Rob, 2015 Rob. Absolutely misread the situation. I was wrong. And I've known it for a long time. The left will not stop until they suffer the consequences of what they want to others. They won't stop. They won't. They will get more radical. They got you fired because you were wearing a Proud Boy shirt. Now they'll get you fired because you listened to a Kid Rock album. Then they'll get you fired because you gave the OK symbol. And it will progress on and on and on. Corporate America. You deal with the left or you deal with the right. You say something that's unpopular to the right. They'll go, ooh, and that's it. You say something the left doesn't like. Well, they get with Media Matters and they cancel all of your advertisers and they demand that you retract your statement and they demand that you donate to certain causes. So even if you're apolitical and you're running a corporation, which side are you going to side with? The side that's basically going to, we'll shake our fist and say, we don't like that. Or the side that will literally try to financially bury you. So it affected our culture in a radical way. I'm going to say something that's very unpopular in my circles. I don't think the Bud Light Dylan Mulvaney thing was that big of a deal. I understand the strategic value in it. And it's different than getting some lady at Home Depot canceled. I mean, Anheuser-Busch is a fucking huge corporation. What was their sin? What did they do? Let's say you really hate Dylan Mulvaney. I don't like Dylan Mulvaney at all. At all. I think that the radical trans movement is out of control. I don't have a problem with a person being trans. I personally have workable relationships. I don't think I have any friends that are trans, but I've certainly streamed with people online that I enjoyed talking to that were trans. Some are unhinged fucking lunatics, but I'm not going to lump all trans people into that. My feeling on being trans is like anything else. I work with people with all sorts of developmental illnesses and things like that. I don't treat them like shit because of that, just like I wouldn't treat a trans person. I think that it is a medical issue. I'm 99% sure it's a mental medical issue. There is a chance, though, that it is literally a physiological issue. Nonetheless, I don't treat people like shit based on medical issues. I don't. But what did Bud Light really do with Dylan Mulvaney? They sent them a can with her face on it, a six-pack. It wasn't even like a big national commercial or anything. It was like Dylan put up on their Facebook or whatever, Instagram, "Hey, check out this picture of a can." Paid Mulvaney for sponsorship. That's nothing. My God, I could name 10 companies right off the top of my head that if you don't like woke shit that did way worse. So what was it? I'm just talking the actual issue. Like what was so offensive? Now the truth is, there's a reason that Bud Light was targeted. Primarily it has to do with Dylan Mulvaney being a flashpoint and with Bud Light's brand being one that caters to traditional conservative, more conservative people. Right? So I get it. So for example, it's going to be tough if, say, let me think. If, give me a makeup company. I don't fucking wear makeup. Oil of Olay. Okay. If Oil of Olay, the corporation that's primarily selling products to women, makeup products and things like that, has Dylan Mulvaney as a sponsor with the same shit, there's not going to be the like visceral ability to whip people up to being upset about it because the audience is kind of catering is predisposed. It's because beer, Bud Light, kind of like a conservative, that's a. And so the audience was predisposed to be like, what's this shit? What is this? I'm just saying on the scale of, even if you're against trans issues and stuff, on the scale of wokeness, I think paying Dylan Mulvaney for a couple of posts is pretty light. Yeah, Go Ram says, John Deere Tractor Supply. Right. Now, I want to separate this. I don't really give a shit about Anheuser-Busch. Like, as far as cancel culture and the things that I think are more questionable are individuals. Some person loses their job. You deciding, hey, I'm not going to buy this product anymore. That's not really cancel culture. If a bunch of people decide to get together and say, you know what? We don't like what Bud Light did. It may or may not be prudent. I may or may not think it's a good idea, but that's a different level, and I would think less controversial than being like, this employee said this and they should be removed from their job. Does everyone agree with? Well, so EOD gets to the point. So that's the truth. So regardless of like me thinking what was the offense of what Bud Light did, I don't think the offense was that bad. I understand the strategic value. The Bud Light boycott's one of the most culturally significant things that's occurred on the right. Because it was the first shot across the bow of sort of corporate America where corporations had to go, ooh, now the right's playing for keeps too. For years, the left played for keeps. Thanks for the $10. Every time Destiny asks you about January 6th, ask about he turned traitor on democracy during the Summer of Love and how he lost the right to that standard. He doesn't get to pearl clutch. I did mention that, and that is something that I would mention for her. But Bud Light, even though they knew their audience predominantly wouldn't like someone like Dylan Mulvaney, I will guarantee it never crossed anyone's mind at Anheuser-Busch. Hey, maybe this ad isn't going to really help us. They didn't give a shit. The Overton window for corporations had shifted so bad that there was literally no fear at all of pissing off your conservative customers. None. None at all. And almost complete and total fear of pissing off your left-wing customers. And so, even if you're apolitical, even if your customers are overwhelmingly conservative, just doing a risk analysis, the conclusion you'll come to every time is, if you have to pander to the left. That's the truth. And it worked. And people like Robbie Starbuck and people like Christopher Rufo, they're exposing conservative type companies that are donating to pride parades or what. It's working. Companies are now saying, oh shit. One of the things that's happening is a lot of companies are just trying to go back to being apolitical. Hey, we're not taking a side. It worked. The same is true of canceling individuals. I don't know how much to say about it. So, I'll just say this. I'm going to be as vague as possible here. I voted for Trump in 2016. People that knew me, many of my friends at the time were quite left-leaning. People in the left-wing circles knew that I was sort of like I was like a Ron Paul libertarian-esque character. I didn't like government corruption stuff. So understand, growing up and going through college, many of these left-wingers despised my sort of small government beliefs economically. But because I protested the Iraq war and was against that, they liked that part of me. And I'm kind of a likable guy, so they tolerated me. Yeah, he's kind of wacky, Ron Paul guy, but against the Iraq war. And that was, for those of you that are younger, that culturally very significant moment that it was sort of like Vietnam Light, where all of these cultural institutions like the entertainment industry, the left wing, etc., was pushing back against sort of this war. And it was similar to Vietnam in the sense that there was institutions pushing for the war. So our political class, and there were certainly right-wingers, and there was a call to patriotism. And so if you didn't support the Iraq war, you were unpatriotic. And the French fries, the French didn't support the war, so they were freedom fries. We're not going to call them French fries. And it's all fucked up, but there was this almost equal sides battle where you had institutions on the left, the entertainment, the counterculture, right? And then you had institutions on the right, sort of your traditional military type cultures and stuff like that. And they were battling it out. And I was on the side that was dominated by the left. I was against the Iraq war. I was against George Bush. I was against Dick Cheney. I was against Mitt Romney. And then something happened in 2008. Anybody know what happened in 2008? Something changed. Probably the biggest propaganda victory I've ever seen. The institutions decided, what if we get this really charismatic dude that basically believes all the same shit that George Bush did, but he's super charismatic, he's hip, he's cool, he's black. And it worked. All of a sudden, all these left-wingers that were anti-Bush, well, if Obama's doing it, it must not be that bad. And I watched over the years, I thought it was crazy. I'd be talking to these people, you move apart from people. I'm no longer in college. It's like, you still keep in contact. And, oh man, did you see Obama, these drone strikes? Oh man, this Alawaki thing? Oh man, did you see, all these conflicts that we're entering? Libya? Really? Syria? Afghanistan? Really? I'm not saying I expected another Republican to go in. I wasn't a party sycophant. I wasn't like, yeah, I'm Republican, so I'll give my side the benefit of the doubt. George Bush is okay. I was like, these institutions suck. The left said yes, but it turns out they didn't believe the institutions sucked. They believed we don't like Republicans. We don't like George Bush. And if a Democrat comes in and does basically the same thing, we're okay with it. That's not who I am. That's not how I felt. I don't feel that attached to a team. And I know before any left-winger comes in here and goes, but you're always defending Trump or whatever. If you followed me, you would see that, one, that's just blatantly untrue. I criticize Trump all the time. And I don't just do it when it makes me popular. When I had 10 people watching me per stream and they were all Trump supporters and I was saying, what the fuck is Trump doing with the massive spending? What the fuck is Trump doing with the bombing of Syria? What is he doing with this mishandling of COVID? I was losing viewers. It's one of the things that kind of makes me chuckle. All of these streamers now that are like DeSantis streamers or other streamers that are right-wing anti-Trump speakers, how many of them were speaking up when Trump was president? Because it turns out the grift was pretty good, wasn't it? Getting all those viewers on YouTube that was sending you that money because you were just parroting Trump's line, that was a pretty good grift, wasn't it? Now, there's a good grift to say Trump sucks. Now you're getting that money from that crowd. It's fine, I don't give a shit. I'm not saying everyone was grifting. No, I'm not Jewish. Happily, some kind of, I don't know, I think a lot of Italian, Irish. Nor. German, I think some German. Yeah. Anyways. There you go. Dustin Babola says, yeah, when you become president, you have to make big boy decisions. You see? So take it from the perspective of Dustin Babola here. Say that Dustin's one of my left-wing friends that's like, Bush lied, people died. And then Obama comes in and I'm like, look, Obama's doing the same shit. And he goes, well, when you're president, you have to make big boy decisions. See? See the difference? Do you think that's what the Michael Moore and all the Democrats that are protesting Bush, do you think if I'd have said, excuse me, Michael Moore, an angry crowd, all of you musicians, when you're president, you have to make big boy decisions? And they all went, oh, yeah, that's true. Big boy decisions. Yeah, never mind. We withdraw our protest. We withdraw. But if Obama comes out and does the same thing, then we hear Democrats going, well, big boy decisions, Funny stuff. Well, of course, I'm saying the people, I thought I prefaced this by saying the people that are old enough. If you weren't around, you weren't around, right? Now, I'm 40, so I graduated in 2002, so, I was a senior when 9/11 happened. I understood that's another thing people don't understand, how close the country came together after 9/11. I don't know that we'll ever see that again, but it was weird. Like, there was like 2 or 3 months where it was like everybody, you could have hated your neighbor and thought he was a dirty liberal and he thought you were a piece of shit conservative, and you guys were out there fucking drinking beers and high-five, and like, it was weird. It was, yeah, I hear you, Lord of the Nerds. Hey, man, don't pick on him. Biden just had a big boy press conference. Thank you, Ciordi. I appreciate it. Anyways, I'm rambling here. Let's get to the point. I saw that gradual change, and I saw the people that were as distrusting on the most distrusting people of these institutions on the left. You could say we were right or we were wrong. That's fine, of course, right? But to watch the radical change, to watch people that were like, yep, absolutely, I don't trust the CIA. Yep, they lie us into these wars. And to watch them over the span of 2 years of Obama be like, I fully trust them. And I trust them more than even the Republicans trusted George Bush and his CIA and his intel agencies. Really? Many of the same people still in office. Obama making choices that are basically indistinguishable from Bush. And you went from being the most distrustworthy person of these institutions to all of a sudden you're the most trusting of them. The reason I bring it up is I think what happened was, what these institutions realized was, if we pay lip service to the causes of the left, right? We have two institutional factions with power. We have the military, we have the executive agencies, we have politics, we have some of the news agencies. Some are the other way, but many of them are with, right? Maybe churches. And then on the other side, we have Hollywood, the entertainment industry, young people, academics. But what happens if you're in control and you could get both sides under your thumb? Then what? Then who's to stop you? What if you could keep doing all the policies that all those right-wingers liked, but all the people that were protesting you, that had cultural power, what if all of a sudden they support you too? And that's what happened. That's exactly what happened. And Donald Trump represented something, you might say that he's full of shit, that he's a liar, that he's a con man. He represented something outside of that establishment. And the attacks then from Trump came from those traditional, the intel agencies, the media, the Con Inc., the conservative donating class, the old school establishment, John McCain Republicans. It came from there, but it also came from the academics, Hollywood, the media that's left wing. All of them. Trump sucks, Trump sucks, Trump sucks, Trump sucks. That's what I'm attacking, the institution. I'm not defending everything Trump does. I don't even give a shit if Trump goes to jail. What I give a shit is that we have non-corrupt institutions. What I give a shit of is that there is an equal application of the law. Trump is one dude. Even if he wins the presidency, he will be gone in 4 years, despite what the left tries to gaslight you. He'll be gone. Hillary Clinton was one person. She'll be gone. Joe Biden will be gone. Well, Joe Biden is gone, but more of a threat than any one individual politician are these institutions, most of which are unelected, that really control how our government and culture operates. A corrupt FBI is far more damaging than a corrupt president. Easily. It's too late. The RNC, Trump's family owns the entire RNC. And? So? The RNC itself isn't one of the institutions that I'm worried about. I'm worried about the people with power that ran the RNC. For example, if I say one of the institutions that I think has this power that's sort of working with all the other institutions is the Democratic Party, right? But if Jill Stein arguably would win the nomination for the Democratic Party, and a bunch of Jill Stein people would win leadership of the DNC, I don't like Jill Stein. She's like super socialist. I don't care for her. But she's outside the scope of the current establishment orthodoxy. You couldn't then be like, well, Jill Stein's the head of the DNC, and Jill Stein's people run the DNC. So clearly she's the establishment. They will choose the tickets for the foreseeable future, which is one of the reasons that I'm voting Republican. Because I feel that those institutions are pissed off that some outsider came in and is usurping them. I look like a riot leader. You think I got the fucking stamina to lead a riot? I think I look fat and out of shape. But thank you, I guess. All right. Anyways, we're a half hour in, so let's get to the fucking meat and potatoes here. So, That's where I'm coming from. I'm not trying to defend Trump. So what I'm saying here is, I don't give a shit what you on the left think. I don't care at all. You that are watching, I don't give a fuck. I absolutely believe that you think and have gaslit yourself into thinking that all the problems started with the right wingers, that all the problems started with Trump supporters and all that shit. And you're fucking wrong. Now, I know that I'm biased and I know that you're biased. And I know you think I'm wrong, and that's okay. That's absolutely fine. I'm telling you that I am quite confident you're objectively wrong, but that's okay. We're allowed to think that each other are wrong. That's fine, right? Everybody got that? So I'm not interested in having the debate today about who started it. I will have that debate. I've had that debate for 8 fucking years. I routinely do it in my channel. I get accused of whataboutism. By the way, brief side note, isn't it funny listening to all the people when I wanted to talk about all this corruption and violence and shit from the left over and over that accused me of whataboutism, that now that's all they want to do when Trump gets shot is talk about what about January 6th? What about Charlottesville? Isn't that funny? A little funny. Anyways. I love they'll say, Rob brought up, the FBI corruption, the FISA warrants. That was like 7 years ago. It's time to move on. Dude, your entire strategy is talking about crimes Trump committed in 2017 and 2020. We can look back those years, but not 1 second past then, please. Nor do we care what you think. It's bigger than you and it's bigger than us. Debate does nothing. Probably true. Yeah, I'm this. I'm a pissant. I get that. Don't think that I got it twisted. That doesn't mean I'm still not going to say what I think's right. So, but yeah. Anyways. I was wrong about the cancel culture thing and a lot of other stuff. Well, no, I don't know that I'm wrong about others. I'm wrong about that. I say on this show a lot, and I've never been more convinced of, well, I don't know. Sometimes I get brief moments of optimism. I'm going to lose, right? My positions that I advocate for are going to lose for a long, long, long time. Like probably the rest of my life, like 30, 40 years. Even though the left paints me as some extremism, I am not. I have beliefs that are outside the scope of what traditional people would think, and that maybe is even practical, if I'm honest. And you might consider that extreme. But when I say extreme, I mean, I'm not calling for violence. I'm not calling to ruin people's lives. I'm pretty moderate in that sense. I kind of want the government to stay out of our lives. So I don't want the government to fuck with the lives of the people that I don't like. That's who I am. And I will lose. I will lose. And I've already explained my bias, so I know you'll be pissed if you're on the left and hear me say this, but I blame the left. And the reason I blame the left is because they were unwilling to listen to reason, because they were unwilling to listen to people like me that talked about, like, look, we have to deal with this corruption. We have to do with culturally the insane shit, the cancel culture on college campuses, the fact that almost every institution is becoming more and more radically left, the fact that our culture is coming to the point where you could just blatantly say shit like assassinate Trump and blah, blah, blah. Celebrities do this, and it's just no one bats an eye. The fact that left-wingers could just riot over and over and over again, and we're told, well, they're mostly peaceful. The fact that you could just blatantly treat people like shit because they're a male, or because they're white, or because they're a Christian. All of this shit. Ninja, sometimes I swear a little, so you have to go if you don't like that. Sorry. I don't think I'm too bad. But the left didn't listen. And they didn't even listen to, in my little world that I operate in, where I debate left-wing people and shit like that, they didn't listen to me there. When I highlight the obvious double standard and corruption of our FBI, for example, they didn't give a shit. They brushed it off. When I highlighted the obvious dangers and extremism of riots that were occurring at Black Lives Matter, they didn't care. Those of you that are Destiny fans that might be watching, he didn't give a shit. Not when I talked to him. Did not give a shit. He said, rioting and voting are two sides of the same coin. And yeah, they shouldn't be burning down private property, but absolutely, this is America. And if you think that these institutions are corrupt, then yes, you have the right. It's just the same to use violence against public institutions. Okay. They didn't give a shit. How many times I used to be mocked back in like 2019, 2020. I got mocked. All the left, when I'd be on a panel, I'd see what they'd say. Here's whataboutism, Rob, but what about BLM? What about BLM? Okay, okay. I told the people, I said, what's going to happen is voices like me will lose, and inevitably voices that say, we agree with their tactics. Absolutely. No problem with political rioting. Don't have a problem with it. Absolutely fine. We're just going to use it on our side. That's the lesson. Oh boy, the left gets away with it. We'll do it too. And here I am, felt like I'm trying to hold back a dam of water. Like, no, don't do that. Don't do it. But I warned the left. I said, you're making this inevitable. The right will eventually do this. And when they do, you will lose your mind. That's what I told them. You're going to lose your mind. Yeah, I'm sure that's not a left take. It was a Destiny take. If I was on my computer, I'd bring up the clip right now. Even Destiny will admit he said it. Yeah, I said that, I wasn't for private property burning down. I warned about cancel culture. I warned about the dangers of supporting or ignoring violence. No one to hear it. No one to hear it. I warned about other things. I warned about how ridiculous it is to set a standard that says, we're going to say using a term like fight like hell is a call to violence. And not only that, we're going to say that we advocate for courts to investigate the guy who said fight like hell and use that as evidence that he incited violence. I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say that's 90% of Democrats believe with that. Trump said fight like hell. Absolutely, there should have been an investigation. Absolutely, that's partial proof. There's other things too, but that's partial proof that he meant go be violent. I was like, you don't see the problem with this? You don't see the problem? And then boom, Brett Kavanaugh says, Chuck Schumer says, Brett Kavanaugh, you're going to reap the whirlwind. The consequences will be dire. Then there's an assassination attempt on Kavanaugh. Now the left's lucky. They control the institutions. The media's on their side. The government's basically on their side. So they let him get away with it. There wasn't an investigation. There wasn't subpoenas of Chuck Schumer. Nope. With Trump's orange man, he bad. So, yep, the rules need to change for Trump. You sure about that? You sure that's the road you want to go down? You sure? I keep plugging away. I keep outlining the double standards. You sure? You sure we're going to start locking people up for for FEC violations like they did? Alvin Bragg did to Trump. You sure about that? Hillary's team just a couple weeks ago, again found guilty of FEC violations. You sure that's the road we're going to go down? You sure you want a world where we're so easily piercing attorney-client privilege and arresting all Trump's lawyers? You sure? You sure that's what you want to do? Okay. Now, I see the writing on the wall. I see what's going to happen. You sure you want to defend illegal FISA warrants? Say it's not a big deal? Positive? Okay. And I've warned the left. And I think that I'm a likable guy. And I'm an authentic guy. And I'm fucking funny. And I'm like killer handsome. So I try to do it with charisma. And I warn the left, like, look, I know you fuckers don't like me. But you do understand. Words hurt for $10. Thank you so much, sir. Says Destiny's joke's not the problem. The problem is wholesale justifying the slaughter of all MAGA Trump because he views them as becoming a literal dictator, non-member. Let him speak. I don't know if I agree with in totality what you're saying, but definitely the spirit of what you're saying is true. That absolutely is my concern as well. My concern is not the jokes. My concern is he literally calling for the death of people? That's beyond the pale. If he's telling edgelord jokes, as offensive and grotesque as they are, that's different. That's forgivable at some point. Maybe not for everyone, but for me it is. But for me, once you cross that line into calling for physical violence against people, wow, this Nina is killing it. No, you're not handsome or a wonderful guy. Oh, here we go. Dang these calls. I mean, Can you guys see me or did I freeze up? Hello? Black screen. Because I'm streaming from my phone and someone called. Can you hear me? You can hear me, okay. Try to fix it here. I might have to stop and rejoin. All right, guys, please, if you're interested in this, we'll get to Destiny. I will, and some other people. If you're interested in this, I got to stop the video and then restart it. So give me 2 minutes.